What's up guys, Venom RB here. So today I'm going to be checking out the new Corvettes that have come to Ultimate Driving. Well, the new Corvette that's been in Ultimate Driving in the past. Kind of confusing. And just giving my thoughts on the new chassis on the Corvettes and trying that out as well. Let's get into the video. So this is the C6 ZR1, and oh wow, that's slidey. Now if you didn't know, this used to be the rank 100 car back before 2019, around 2019, somewhere around then. I'll throw a picture of what it looked like up on screen. But this used to be achievable at rank 100, and then obviously they swapped it out for the C7 ZR1. Now I personally am super glad to see this car come back because I quite like it. Westover looks very nice right now, kind of off topic. But this car, the new chassis on it, in my opinion, and I have driven these cars, not tons, but you know, a bit, just to try them out. The new chassis on this car, I like it. It's a bit weird, but I like this one because it feels a lot more like the old chassis, I guess you could say. But with a more realistic feel, unlike others, which are just completely different. The drifting is quite nice. I like how when you turn traction control off, it really spins out. It like does burnouts and stuff more than like your average car, because usually when you just turn traction control off on the new chassis, it just sort of spins around, and when you turn traction control off on the new chassis, usually it just spins out when you try and turn at top speed, and that does a burnout. The model on this car looks really nice, and the chassis, like I said, on this C7 ZR1 feels really nice. You know, you can turn traction control off, do some burnouts, and then turn it on, and it does drift obviously, but that feels pretty realistic, and I like how you can sort of catch it. Makes the car a lot of fun to just whip around Westover in. So all in all, I feel like if the new chassis was overall like this, it would be a big success in my opinion, and this chassis, they nailed it. They did really well. Now, sure, there might need to be a few tweaks here and there, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I guess maybe a bit too slippery without when traction control is on, maybe, but even then, it's pretty good. Very controllable with traction control on, and still pretty controllable with it off. Now for the C6, not ZR1. This car feels pretty similar, except it oddly seems faster. I'm not sure why it is, but it does seem faster and seems to have more power, which I kind of doubt is realistic at all. More than kind of doubt. This chassis overall feels pretty good. It basically feels the exact same, just with more power, which is what you'd pretty much expect out of the same car. I feel like this chassis is as well equally good. There's really not much to say. I would say it needs a small nerf in torque and power, because that cannot be realistic acceleration if that's what they're going for. Now for the C8, so some of you who haven't tried out the update might be like, why haven't you done the C7 or the C7 ZR1? And the reason is, those didn't get the new chassis this update for some reason. Now, the C7, from the short amount of time I've driven it, it feels horrible to me, because this would be fine if it drove like this without traction control on, but this is with traction control on. Like, your car shouldn't be doing this. It wouldn't do this in real life with traction control on. I would hope anyways. With traction control off, it feels like about what it should, I guess. The acceleration seems pretty good. The handling seems pretty good. It just is a bit too slippery, is my opinion on the car. Otherwise, I think this was... It's a good step in the right direction on this particular car. Like the C6s, they have great chassis. This one, the chassis on it's a bit weird, but I think it can be tweaked a bit and it'll be all good. Now for the old Corvette. I don't even know what model this is. I'm not a Corvette enthusiast, you could say. I think this is probably a C2, but it could be a C1. I should just go consult Google. Okay, I am back, and it seems this is a C1. Sorry if I triggered you. Now, this car, what's cool about it is no traction control. I am spamming K, and traction control won't turn on because this car doesn't have any, because it's an old car. Now, it doesn't really feel like it has no traction control. Also, I-76 got more lighting, so that's cool. But it doesn't really feel like it has no traction control. Like, you have to hit B to make it do a burnout and stuff. But it's just a cool little touch that you can't turn traction control on and off. The chassis on this one feels pretty good, I would say. Oh, there's a little slide. It feels pretty good. I mean, I guess this is probably how the old one would drive. I don't know. But I think this chassis is also pretty good. Feels realistic. It doesn't feel bad. Because, like, I mean, I drove this car when I had the old chassis and it didn't feel super different. Oh, that's great. And now for what I assume is a C2. This car also does not have any traction control. And feels basically identical to the C1. Can't really notice a difference, except I guess it has a bit more power because you can do that, which is cool. So all I notice between the two is this one has a bit more torque and power. Otherwise, it seems very, very similar, and the chassis seems pretty good on it. So all in all, I would say this update is very good because the new chassis feels actually decent, unlike before, which it really doesn't feel that good. Like the T50 and stuff, the chassis isn't bad on it, but I just don't personally like driving it. These cars I like driving, they're pretty fun, especially without traction control. It's just really nice to zip around in. So all in all, I guess Wescobar and Aventador, if he's still developing the chassis, has been doing quite a good job. I mean, all the Corvettes have the new chassis, and I mean the chassis on them all seem pretty good. I mean, obviously you're going to get the new chassis bugs and stuff, like when my Corvette tire broke, but that's to be expected. So yeah, I think this is a step in the right direction. Good job, UD developers, for, you know, getting the new chassis on these cars pretty good. I mean, obviously they need a few tweaks, but I think that's pretty well known anyways and was expected. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it or whatever, and yeah, Venom out.